Russian government bank deposited $500 million into Deutsche Bank subsidiary as it lent to Trump.
Here's a summary of the article.
A Russian government-controlled bank deposited at least $500 million into the American subsidiary of Deutsche Bank around the time that the bank lent Trump his most scrutinized loans, according to exclusively obtained confidential bank records. In a statement, Deutsche Bank said that DBTCA's relationship with Gazprombank was one in which the Russian state bank moved significant amounts of money into DBTCA as part of a cash management arrangement. At no point has DBTCA ever received loans or a capital injection from Gazprombank or any other Russian bank, a spokesman for Deutsche Bank said. Deutsche Bank faced prior scrutiny for a $1 billion loan to VTB Bank, a bank also majority-owned by the Russian government. Based on the breach report and the correspondent banking network, it appears that DBTCA was the bank of choice for the Russian government bank for both cash management and correspondent banking. DBTCA's relationship with Gazprombank, wherein Gazprombank moved billions of rubles to DBTCA in order for them to exchange that to dollars, was by far its largest foreign liability to a state-owned bank. Its next largest was to the National Bank of Egypt. Most of the liabilities to Russia by the Deutsche Bank subsidiary were owed to private institutions, though at least $1 billion appeared to be to Russian state-controlled entities, with the majority of that to Gazprombank, VEB, and VTB. It's unclear if other Russian banks were using DBTCA for cash management, or why they ended up on the liabilities sheet. 2 years later, an internal bank report surfaced alleging that Deutsche Bank had direct involvement in another Russian money laundering scheme where Russian criminals with links to the Kremlin, the old KGB and its main successor, the FSB, used the scheme between 2010 and 2014 to move money into the Western financial system. A slew of other regulatory actions have been brought against Deutsche Bank for separate financial wrongdoing.
This post received a score of 55,651, with an upvote ratio of 86%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Context: Trump Org's suspicious Russian-flavored business and relationship with Deutsche Bank. It is incredibly important that Congress pursue investigation of any potential underwriting relationship of DB loans to Trump by Russian entities, because they would explain everything about Trump Org's incredibly suspicious behavior over the last decade and a half. Why Deutsche Bank, Trump's lender of last resort, kept lending through repeated defaults, since the late 2000s, which was especially strange in light of his history. No one knows why they were willing to repeatedly accept the considerable risk Trump entailed, but given Deutsche's, the big question was whether those loans were being backstopped through other sources. Trump's bizarre Gulf-heavy spending spree. From 2006 to 2015, Trump Org went on a mysterious the biggest purchases, precisely aligning with Deutsche's heaviest period and precisely the time that Eric Trump contemporaneously explained to Gulf writer that all of Deutsche Bank's freak out when Trump wins election. Right before the election, Trump was predictably having a hard time with the Scottish golf courses, which were investments that continue to lose money and needed a bailout. Trump's subordination to Putin, Systema. There is some explanation for why Trump's sycophancy towards Vladimir Putin. There is some explanation for why he of what was discussed afterwards.
Thanks, Slack. Glad you're here to add to this. Edit, yo, you, popping cream. Got any of your goods to throw down in here?
I've spent my day listening, watching the Senate impeachment trial, and I'm about to head out to work. Sorry I can't be of more assistance. I'll definitely look into this when I get a chance. Smiley face. In the meantime, you get to enjoy Slackmal and their fantastic, in-depth comments.
Canadian heading out to work, night shift. Godspeed, friend.
Lol, thanks. I mean, it's not really a night shift. My work revolves around training athletes, so I'm usually in a facility for a few hours every evening training, or outdoors if the weather permits. It's great because the hours are flexible since I'm still in university. Haha.
Author here. Hit me with questions.
Considering the site won't load, can you give us a rundown on the exact evidence you collected?
Deutsche Bank declined to name the entities to which Gazprombank distributed the dollars or for what purposes the Russian government wanted to convert approximately 16 billion rubles to dollars. The sizable amount of money owed to Russia raises questions about why the American bank was so deeply intertwined with Russian cash. Deutsche Bank faced prior scrutiny for a $1 billion loan to VTB Bank, a bank also majority owned by the Russian government. At the time there was still about $600 million left for VTB to pay off, but the journal reported Deutsche Bank took a loss in order to reduce its Russian exposure.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.